It's that time of year again. Big box stores getting their seeds in, and I'm sure you want to get started. Hang around. That's what we're going to talk about, getting your seeds started. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Backyard Vegetable Gardening Channel. Today's January the 9th, 2024. Sure hope you're having a great day. Well, as you can tell from the intro, everybody's getting excited. You should be. Big box stores got the seeds out, and that can only mean one thing. A bunch of gardeners of all kinds, getting really anxious to get those seeds started. And we was out the other day, we left church and had some of the grandbabies, me and my wife, decided to stop by one of the local box stores because we heard there was a rumor that they had their seeds out. Well, boy, did they ever. So that's what we did. Now, before we get into all that stuff, I already had all my main crops picked out. These boxes over here is how we store our seeds normally. A little, you can't call it a catalog, but reach in here, first thing I grab is peppers. Lots and lots of peppers. Got our tomatoes in here, first one out of the bunch. The Chadwick cherry tomato. Never grew those. Be the first year we grow those. Lots of radishes. We'll be getting to them soon. But the ones we'll be getting to first are the onions. That's what we're going to plant today. We're going to get those onions planted. All right, folks, we're back. Hopefully everything is in order, best we can get it. We'll start out with our trays. The typical trays that you're going to find, seed starting trays at the big box store, looks something like this. Comes with a bottom watering pan, no holes in it. It'll come with your seed cells, and if you opt for it, the humidity dome. And this is one of my grandson picked up. We were there and I found these, well, my wife actually did several years ago. She found these little burpee, they call them Super Seed. This is the 16 XL pop out and reusable seed starting tray. And they make other varieties, and some of them I prefer better, but as far as something I can go to the store and get almost all the time, these are a pretty good thing because they got this silicone bottom, and if you let your plant stay in there a little too long, if you're familiar with getting your plugs out, it can be a chore. You can just push that down. So it kind of helps you get the plants out, and you can do that with the thin nursery pots and even these seed starting trays. But I found that I just like these a little better. And of course, we picked us up a handful of them to replace some that's worn out over the years. If you're going to start, this is probably what you're going to get your first year or so gardening, because that's what's available at the local stores. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you don't have to get a 72 cell tray. You can get a smaller tray with bigger plug size. These are real flimsy. They're great. They'll last you a season. If you're real careful, you might get another season. But if you leave them out there in the sun, if you rough handle them, they're just real flimsy. They fall apart. But what you want is you get this bottom tray here, and it's not too flimsy, but it's certainly not as sturdy as the ones we use. And this is so the water don't go everywhere. And what happens is when you start your seeds, you'll fill all this with your starting medium, which in our case today is going to be some cocoa coir mixed with some perlite. And you'll fill these up just gently firm. You don't want to pack them. You need some air in the soil so the roots can do a good job. You just want to make sure that there's good contact. The seeds have good contact with that medium and keep them watered. But that's the whole purpose of this tray here. What you want to do, you don't want to water from the top. You'll lift this up and you'll pour your water right here in the side, and the soil absorbs the water, and it also keeps the bugs down when you're starting indoors. The reason it comes with this little humidity dome is when you're germinating your seeds. Now, you will not need this after your seeds germinated, but after you get your seeds started, and depending on how long it takes, you'll put this humidity dome after you get your seeds planted, and you'll want to leave this on here 14 days, however long it takes, till you start seeing your seeds germinate. Now, when your seeds germinate, you want to take this off. They need airflow. Airflow keeps them healthy, but it's It makes things easier if you had a humidity dome. It's not necessarily required. I've started a lot of seed without humidity domes, but what I've learned is that it does help a little bit. Like when we grow in these cups that you see back here, when we start those out, we'll actually put saran wrap over the top of the cup, put a rubber band on it, and it does the same thing. We'll just leave them there, and the minute we see the seedling emerge, we take the stuff off and it's good to go. So that's one variety, very inexpensive. This is $6. It's 72 cells, $6. Larger cell, half the size tray, only 16 cells. It was about $12. But what we normally use is something like this right here, if we've got enough. And I run out occasionally. I just bought me a few packs of these, and these are real sturdy. You can see we've got two here, two nursery pots, different. You can see the bottom of them, and this one is real flimsy. This one is really sturdy. And that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to buy things that we can reuse for a long time. Now, bought these last year, and if you can look in there, you can probably see that it's not clean. It's because we already used it one time, and what we'll do is we'll reuse it again, but we'll wash it and sanitize it before we do that. But we try to buy things that we can reuse because, number one, it's just frugal. You don't want to spend where you don't have to spend, especially in this economy. And from what I see, it's not getting much better. But also from the perspective of I can't go to the store and buy these. I have to order these because there's nowhere convenient to me where I can obtain them. I have to order them off the internet. And with these right here, of course, they're a little smaller size. I believe this one is a 2.5 inch and this is a 1.5 inch. These are going to last me a lot longer. And honestly, this is really all I need for most everything that I start indoors. So we showed you that other tray was real flimsy. Well, this one is not flimsy. It's really thick, good plastic. I can't remember how much weight it's rated to hold, but I can tell you this. I like these. These are my preferred trays. They do really good. There's all kinds of different varieties. When you go to buy them, you could get the bootstrap farmer variety. You can get all kinds of varieties. But we just bought these on Amazon. Can't remember the brand they are. We just look for heavy duty seed starting trays. These do not have the holes in them. Some have holes, these do not, and we don't want them to. We want them to hold the water so the soil, the starting mix can absorb it up from the bottom. So there's another thing that you can do that we do quite a lot of, and there's a lot of variations of this. And now this is for seed starting indoors. You can actually use this to grow outdoors depending on the plant you got. That'll determine when you're going to be able to do this. But this, you see, this is just a milk jug that we've cut and left the handle on. And well, I can look back here. Here's similar. I've got a milk jug, but this is closer. This is some sage that we've got growing here, and it's the same idea. This is in a juice bottle. Did the same deal. We've been having that growing here all winter long, and it's going to do good when we get it out there when it gets a little warmer. I guess I probably could put it out there now, but we're just learning about the herbs and stuff, so I don't want to chance it. But just probably got these laying around now. Been throwing them away. Save them. You can use them. Put you some holes in the bottom. Put your starting mix in there and plant you some seeds. Now, we mentioned the solo cups, the nursery pots, the seed starting trays. They all work great. It just depends on what you prefer, what you got room for, what you're going to do, how quick you're going to get them out. You shouldn't bog yourself down with that, though. If you're just getting started growing a garden, the main thing is just get started growing your garden. All right, everybody, we're back. We've got our trays. We've done filled most of our cells, but I wanted to take a minute just to show you something I do. Makes things a little easier. I'd rather be out there on my seed starting table, but like I told you, it is pouring down the rain. I mean, we've got water standing everywhere. But what I do is whether it's a tray like cups like this, or one of the more sturdier trays, just take my little cup and I'll dip it into my seed starting medium. And if you'll look on these cups, there's a little rim around the top. Now I apologize, folks, I'm not going to get out the camera again, but what you want to do is you want to fill your cup just above that bottom line right here. What I found it's easy to do is to take another little pot and just lightly pack it. You don't want to compress that stuff, but you do want to lightly pack it. And what that does, takes all the work out of it, because what you're going to have to do otherwise, you're going to get your cup and then you're going to come in here and you're going to use your fingers, and that's plenty fine, but you can see how much longer it takes to do that, and it's a lot faster to do it using that other cup. So that's what we do. So we got 2 trays here, and what we're going to do now is we've already got our seed starting medium pre-moistened. That's very important. A lot of these mediums, and it don't really matter what you get, if it's a seed starting medium, not a pot and soil, they're going to be what's called hydrophobic from when you open the package. They're not going to take water well. It takes them a little while. So if you go through all this and you've planted your seeds and then you dump water in it, even if you lightly water it, it's not going to take it. The water's going to pond up and it's going to disturb those seeds you just planted. So you want to make sure that you pre-moisten your seed starting mix. And what we'll do is we'll plant us a few seeds, cover it with perlite, and then we'll lightly water it. Now I'm inside, so I'm going to have to be very careful today doing this. I don't want to make a mess. But before we move on any further, I want to show you what we do. We've got our seeds here, and you see these are from Johnny's Seeds. These are a Sierra Blanca F1. A lot of these we've never grown before, and in fact, we have grew so few onions, I don't even know the varieties we grew. I do remember trying to grow the Walla Walla, and that's how I learned one of the most important things about growing onions. Depending on where you live in the country, based on your latitude, you're either going to grow a long day onion, an intermediate day onion, or a short day onion. Now, where I live in northwestern North Carolina, I'm kind of on that border between a short day and an intermediate day. So I'm playing around this year with both of those varieties. And this one in particular is one that's rather interesting. The Sierra Blanca F1, it's a white onion. It's a day neutral onion, and it's supposed to just grow no matter where you live. So we're going to try that one. And what I recommend that you do after you've got all your cells filled with soil, or your nursery pots, get your seeds, make you some labels. And what I do on my labels is I'll label it. You can see that it's an onion and it's a Sierra Blanca F1. At the very top, it says January the 9th or 1/9. That tells me just when I started my seeds. Now, I don't think that's really important with these onions, but for study, it's going to be good because I can't remember a lot of things. I'm getting to the point where I keep a journal of my gardening, and I recommend that to you because when you start doing your fertilizing, especially like what we're growing in here, we've got plants outside, plants in the building. Sometimes I forget, when did I feed those last? When did I water those last? And this time of year, you don't have to water them that much. And any time of year, if you overwater your plants, it's not good. And any time of the year, it doesn't matter if you underwater your plants, it's not good. So we try to make sure of that. And you always, if you want your plants to do good, you need to fertilize them regularly. Now, a lot of people, especially the organic gardeners, the best they'll do is side dress. So they'll make a compost tea or maybe a fertilizer tea. We've done that. And that's fine. If you use a commercially bought water-soluble fertilizer, it's a little more convenient because when you make the teas, you have to wait generally 24 hours before the tea to make. If it's based on a fertilizer like Dr. Earth's, we've done that a time or two. Nothing wrong with that. It's good. And in fact, it did a really good job. It's just a matter of planning ahead and time to get it out there when you need to do it. But with the water soluble stuff, you just mix it when you need it, take it out, pour it, and it's done. And I find that I'm leaning toward that a lot, but we still use a lot of the organic fertilizers because we just think that's probably a little bit better for you. I know the plants, typically they don't care, they're going to grow. We've seen that commercial produce, but if we're going to go through all the trouble of growing a garden, eventually you're going to start wondering, what's this stuff doing to me? And so anyway, that's neither here nor there. So when you get your seeds and you're ready to plant, make sure you go ahead and get your labels ready. Okay, folks, so we're back. We've got our seed trays in a pretty convenient location. And what I like to do is I go ahead and insert my labels into the cells or the cups, the rows of cups that we're going to plant in, because you don't want to get mixed up. You don't want to forget what you got planted. And this is an easy way to do it. So we're going to start out here with the Sierra Blanca Day Neutrals. And if I was smart, I probably would have already opened these. There we go. We got into Johnny's seeds. So what we'll probably do is cut the video a little bit and open these seed packets. But so get you a seed packet, pour you some seeds in your hand, and they're not very big, folks. So a lot of people use little seed tools, and we have them. Didn't get any out. Now, these pots right here are probably 2.5 inches, and they can do about 5 onion plants per cell. I could do more than that if I wanted to. One in each corner, one in the middle, and just take my finger and push them down. Now, these only have to go in the ground about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. So I'm not too awful worried about all of that. We'll handle that with the perlite, and typically does a good job. You know, there's a lot of people who watch these videos who are just like, well, they're beginners. They're just like we all were when we started out. I've not been growing a garden for all that many years, 3, 4, 5 years, and really come to love it. And it got to the point to where all the people in the neighborhood and at church, they were always asking me about the garden and asking me advice about their gardens. And last year we spent a good amount of time helping other folks with their gardens get started, their seeds started, or even went out and tilled a few plots of earth for some folks, and just was a blessing. And so we just decided that if that would be the case, we might not be experts with decades of experience, but we've got enough experience to where we can be a help and a blessing to other people. So we eventually just started this little YouTube channel here, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, and I expected it to be because, you know, I'm not a videographer. I don't know a thing about this stuff. I'm learning as I go. All the equipment and all the settings and all that stuff. But, you know, just the joy and the peace, the happiness of sitting here at this table with you, helping you get your garden growing, or maybe do better than you did last year. It's plenty worth it. I think it is anyway. So we'll go ahead and we'll get the rest of these seeds planted, and then we'll come back to the video. There's no sense in you watching me go through and seed 2 trays of seeds. I know a lot of people would do that, maybe give you a time lapse and speed it up, but this video has already been long enough as it is. There's no sense me dragging it out for you. So we'll get these planted and we'll be right back. Well, all the seeds are planted. I've got everything labeled, and one thing I got to apologize for, folks. I'm not going out there to get the perlite. So what I did was I just covered them with a thin layer of the seed starting mix, just about an eighth of an inch, no more than a quarter of an inch. Now I'm going to be really careful here, and I'm going to water these in just very lightly. Try not to make a mess on my table, because I don't want to make a mess on the table. Got a seed starting table outside. I'd love to be using it right now, but this is a little bit heavy, but I don't have no better option. When you water, you want to water gentle, and the easiest way to do it is to let it stream out this spigot head, not just drizzle like I'm doing. But thankfully, the way that we applied the soil and very gently packed it down, didn't compress it, we just made sure it was firm. The water's not doing, it's not disturbing the seeds any. So we'll get us some more water here. Now, it's important for me to mention to you, after this light watering to settle these seeds in, from now on I'll be watering from the bottom. I won't be watering on the top anymore. Now, if I had this in a greenhouse and I had the perlite or the vermiculite on top, I might consider doing it. But being we're starting them indoors, in a place, in a dwelling, it's much more preferable to do what we're doing here. Now I'm going to move over here just so I can be a little bit more careful with these than I did that other one, and get a little water down in there. And that's really all there is to it, folks. Starting your seeds, the main thing is just learning when to start them, learning what will grow in your area, and then it's just waiting until they germinate, waiting until seedlings get big enough to put them out in the garden. And that's the hard part, ain't it? Waiting until they get out there, because here it is, January. It'll be a while. We'll get these out in the garden probably 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks before our last average frost date. We'll probably keep them under a cover, let them get good and established, but it's just a waiting game now. So the next step would be, for me, would be to put these seeds somewhere, put these trays in one of the racks. They don't need no light right now, but it's smart to go ahead and get your lights ready and get the lights as close as you can, within an inch or so of the soil. And then when these seeds germinate, they won't stretch out looking for that light. And I believe that'll do it. Well, friends, there you have it. That's how you get your onion seeds planted, start to finish. One thing I will highly recommend, if you got the space, it's highly desirable, is that you get you some of these humidity domes, and you put them over top of your seed trays just like this. These are nice. They've got a nice little vent here that I can allow more air in, less air, whatever. And what this does is it keeps, it's like a little greenhouse, so to speak. Keeps that humidity high, lets them seeds, gives them seeds a better germination rate. And what you do is, when your seeds germinate, you remove these humidity domes immediately. They don't need it anymore. We're growing inside here, so these will stay right here until these humidity domes come off, and then we'll take them, we'll put them in our rack, we'll adjust the light, the amount of light they get, and they should do good. Now, I'm confident that we'll do good this year, and I'm confident that you're going to do good this year. Thank you for watching the Backyard Vegetable Gardening channel. Till we see you again, hope you have a great day.